This is a podcast by the Business Times, presented by UOB.
It seems 68% of Singaporean consumers foresee an economic downturn in the next 6 to 12 months. Gosh, feels like we're a pessimistic bunch. But at least the number stands lower than the 70% who expressed this sentiment in the same UOB survey in 2022. The fourth edition of UOB's ASEAN Consumer Sentiment Study has them partnering global management consulting firm Boston Consulting Group for the first time to put together the annual study. It found that rising inflation and increased household expenses constitute the two main worries at the forefront of Singaporeans' minds. For more insights, we speak to Jacqueline Tan, Head, Group Personal Financial Services at UOB. Welcome to the Business Times Future of Finance podcast, Jacqueline.
Thank you, Howie, for having me.
As mentioned, you guys recently released the findings from your fourth annually conducted ACSS. Maybe give us an overview of some of the biggest takeaways you will be garnered from respondents this year.
Sure. It takes the consumer sentiments of close to 3,400 respondents across ASEAN, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Indonesia, as well as Vietnam. It's kind of like a barometer of consumer sentiments, one that considers the societal considerations, consumer spending and banking behaviors, as well as digital behaviors, as well as preferences. Ultimately, these surveys and insights add values to consumers as well as businesses to be able to adapt and poise themselves to navigate uncertain economic environments. So some of the key insights that we uncovered, 4 key things. One, which is the concerns over economic downturn, one that's persisting in ASEAN due to the inflationary pressures, the increasing in expenses, and you can imagine the rapid adoption to digital, but more importantly, the importance of an omni-channel strategy for businesses out there. Thirdly, the rapid growth of e-payments with importance of accessibility, convenience, as well as value. And last but not least, banking on personalization, where we discovered that consumers are open to sharing information in favor for more relevant or personalized services that add value to them, especially in such a time-starved environment. More than 2 in 3 actually foresee economic downturn in the next 6 to 12 months. And when we dug deeper into some of the top-of-mind considerations and concerns, many cited the rising inflation, increase in household expenses, decline in savings, as well as the potential impact for their long-term financial commitments. We also probed a little bit further on the worrying financial situation, the ability to put money aside for savings, affording essential items for myself or even my family. And essential items, we are talking about dining, utilities, expenditure, transportation.
Necessities, really.
Really. The day-to-day necessities. Even, the ability to maintain my current lifestyle. But one thing that we thought was quite interesting for the Singaporean consumers, the fact of the ability to plan ahead for retirement came in top 2. Something that we didn't see in the other 4 markets, but something that's also not unexpected, given our aging population here in Singapore, and the ability to be able to save and plan for your retirement. I think that came out as a key consideration.
So the top 2 you were saying was 42% felt they might not have the ability to set aside money for saving. Almost 37% said the ability to plan ahead for retirement was their concern, right?
That's right.
So how does UOB work with consumers to support their aspirations, help them out with their worries, so to speak?
Correct. Consumer spending that has increased year on year about close to 13%. The spending on essentials, like what I mentioned earlier, the average has increased about close to 10%. And when we looked at the average ticket size for things that consumers spend on utility, on transportation, or even dining in itself, has grown about 8 to 10% in each of the categories for the ticket size. So you do see
it's quite substantial.
That growing. So at UOB, I think it's important for us to not only look at these trends, to be able to continuously innovate our solutions, to be able to address consumers' growing preferences, needs, or even considerations, the ability for consumers to spend smarter, save wiser, or even invest more confidently. It's about introducing financial solutions that would enable or even empower a consumer to do that. So for example, if I talk about our credit cards proposition that has the card for every lifestyle, And one of my favorites really is the UOB Ladies Card, where you have the ability to choose any of the categories that you would like to earn accelerated rewards. You can change from dining to travel or entertainment every quarter, and you can earn 6 miles for every dollar spent. And that's great value in terms of what you get rewarded for spending wisely and something that suits your lifestyle at that period of time. On savings, we have product solutions like our UOB One account, together with the ability to spend, like let's say $500, you can save and earn high interest rates of close to 7.8%, where it will be a primary transactional account. I think that's where you get interest, that's ability to give you more for your savings that can help beat some of the inflationary pressures that you see out there, to be able to invest confidently through our self-serve UOB Tomorrow app, that we have a simple invest solutions that allow consumers to easily choose from any of the 4 portfolios, especially curated, or whether it's to speak to our advisor. The key thing is to really understand what's on top of consumer insights and concerns, looking at data to create financial solutions that best tailor to their life stage or lifestyle needs.
So the ACSS 2023 showed that, right? A lot of the solutions that you mentioned, the UOB Tomorrow, UOB One online. So UOB digitalized, and you've found that they're very receptive consumers to this new tech era. Talk us through some more of the key innovations that UOB's made towards digitalizations and that consumers really liked.
Sure. The rapid pivot to digital truly accelerated during the pandemic period. In the last survey that we saw, more than 1 in 2 were using whether they're mobile or even internet banking more frequently in the past 1 year. For UOB, given we have the largest ASEAN consumer banking footprint, we see the importance of the ability to engage as well as communicate with customers in the way that suits their demographic behavior as well as personal preferences. I think one innovation that was very well received was the ability to give customers the actionable insights on a daily basis that's personalized to them. So for example, our UOB Tomorrow Banking app is an all-in-one app, but it is different for everyone because the dashboard is powered by AI-driven insights that are based on data, that's based on consumers' past transactional behavior, spends, and so on and so forth, savings behavior, to curate relevant insights for the consumers. The ability to be able to categorize your spending across dining, retail, utility, transportation, and to be able to nudge you on a monthly basis, hey, you have spent a little bit more on this category versus your previous months of behavior. We have other insights that also nudges you when you're closer to your next level of a higher interest or closer to a next level of a higher cashback on your spend, which consumers find very useful. This also includes, for example, e-commerce is a big thing now currently. While purchases done on e-commerce platforms are high, one common behavior that we do see is consumers do return their e-com purchase on a very high frequency. The ability to nudge a customer when he gets a refund for e-commerce purchase, I think that was also one insight that was quite well received. So when we look at it in total, our AI-driven insights that we push through to our UOB Tomorrow app, in the whole of first half of this year, I think we pushed through about close to 44 million insights over a large base of 2 million customers. This was more than 60% increase. With the increase in transactions data, you would see more personalized insights being pushed out. And from a consumer basis, we saw close to 1 in 2 of our customers interact and engage with some of these insights that we push out. And this is an increase about close to 27%. I think we do see with data the ability to nudge actionable insights based on the different categories, whether it's what concerns you on your spending, on your savings, or what better ways to get, smarter savings nuggets or even spending habits. That has been quite well received overall.
Still to come, more on AI, digital payments, e-wallets and such. Stay tuned, and Jacqueline Tan from UOB will guide us into the future.
This episode of Future of Finance is presented by UOB. And now, back to our podcast.
We've been speaking to Jacqueline Tan, Head of Group Personal Financial Services, UOB, and we have to talk about, Jacqueline, those 2 letters which either strike fear in your heart or makes it skip a beat in anticipation, AI. So tell us about the challenges UOB had to address on your digitalization journey, particularly when it came to deploying AI?
The two letters, something that, yes, definitely, that gets everyone very excited, artificial intelligence, because we put customers in the center of everything that we do. Client centricity has always been a priority, and the ability to understand our customers' needs, preferences, goals, ambition, and to be able to tailor personalized banking solutions that meet that lifestyle, life stage objectives, I think is quite critical for us. As such, we leverage a lot on data, build machine learning as well as AI models to identify and to be able to serve our clients better. And we adopt this across a wide range of use cases, whether it's client-facing type use cases in the next best product recommendation, next best engagement offer, or even to some of our internal processes where we leverage AI as well as machine learning to be more productive and more efficient. I'll reach out into our ASEAN markets. First in the market to have introduced it, auto-save feature in our UOB Tomorrow mobile banking app. The ability to use AI and machine learning models to understand the consumer's cash flow patterns, their savings as well as their spending patterns, and the ability to identify small amounts of safe to save money to be able to automatically park funds into higher interest bearing savings accounts and even up to several times a week. So we call this autosave feature. Another area on internal processes, even our replenishment of cash at our ATMs island-wide, the ability to have the optimal timing frequency at different machines at different location, thereby lowering operating costs as well as driving efficiency. I think that was another use case that we saw. So something on the customer facing and something that helps on our internal processing. But generative AI, ChatGPT, definitely garnering more excitement. And it's a question whether technologies like AI can also potentially replace human, which is a very common topic for us at UOB. It's important for us to really strike a balance between using data, leveraging technology, and balancing that with the human touch and the human expertise to be able to maintain our customers' trust throughout this whole evolution altogether. Ultimately, banking is about building a trusted relationship with our customers, with the human touch, with the connection, and depends a lot on emotional intelligence, the empathy, the ability to actively listen, as well as to evaluate and do judgment. The importance of balancing data, technology, as well as human expertise. That's a critical balance for us altogether. And with AI, we leverage a lot of data. So one area that I do feel is quite critical is our role to really build trust, loyalty, as well as to win hearts by using data. As the guardians of data, it's important for us to protect, store, and look at the usage of data, even the transfer of data. The ability to really build loyalty. So understanding what customers want and offering that so that they keep coming back. I think that's where we build loyalty. And where we win hearts is really understanding what customers want and offering them in a time that they don't expect it. With the whole evolution of AI, leveraging data, using tech, delivering more personalized, effective solutions and offers out there, is a space that we have to continue to invest, learn, and transform because this is a large and fast evolving space. The ability to really deploy this at scale across all your different touch points consistently, that's quite critical. With data and AI, it just gets better over time.
I'm glad you brought that up because the flip side of AI and digitalization and all that, right, is the privacy of my data.
Yes.
And then, of course, when we're talking about banking, the safety of my money. So in the payment space, we've seen ASEAN consumers showing to be really savvy adopters of these latest technologies, right? The e-wallets and QR code-based payments topped regional payment modes. Over 50%, about 56 in fact, of respondents have used it in the past year. So the safeguards, Jacqueline, tell us more about them to protect this growing use of digital payment technologies.
I mean, in our survey, we saw across ASEAN, in terms of topping the payment modes out there, yes, e-wallets, QR-based code payments, even e-commerce platforms that has been on the rise. From a consumer's perspective, how do we really safeguard and protect with the rapid adoption within this space on digital payments? And digital payments, as we saw, is displacing cash. And when we talk about e-commerce payments, today, close to 1 in 2 of all the card billing sales out there is actually conducted on e-commerce platform. So with the proliferation of digital payment platforms, whether it's scams, fraud tactics have become a little bit more sophisticated, ever evolving. And for us at UOB, it's critical that we keep consumers' banking security as our foremost concern and our top priority. So the ability to drive awareness and education materials out to our consumers, to regularly communicate banking security and address any concerns to build consumers' confidence on using the digital platforms is quite critical. The ability to really also, at point of purchase or engagement through the digital platforms, to regularly remind customers with security tips like in-app push notifications, online banking login alerts, pre-login alerts, and so on and so forth. As an industry as well, I do see a whole of industry efforts. Together, we have introduced quite a few measures to minimize fraudulent transactions to protect our consumers as a whole. Removing clickable links via text messages or emails. There is also a cooling period for consumers when they set up, for example, a digital token on their mobile banking app, or when you add a payee, there is a 12-hour cooling period before you can actually take the next action, as well as triggers of a step-up authentication, such as email, SMS, OTP for selected high-risk transactions that's being conducted on online banking or your mobile banking app, or even the ability to give customers the access in times of emergency to really self-serve and quick kill feature for all your digital banking channels in case of need. So for example, if it's suspected that you have been scammed, the quick access to be able to do a kill switch, I think that's quite critical. Lowering the transactional limits. So you see how there has been quite a lot of education, awareness, information material that we constantly push out there. And as an industry, we've also tried to put in a lot of friction in the digital engagement processes to be able to really safeguard and protect the consumers. But most importantly, it's really us as individuals that need to take that proactive step to be aware of what's happening around and to really protect our money.
Sounds like some people veer towards that.
Yes.
Not wanting to get online. And you also saw, right, the ACSS survey showed that your bank branches saw a 17% rise in usage region-wide. That means they still want that face-to-face. Jacqueline, where is the sweet spot for UOB between digitalization and maintaining that human touch?
You know, Howie, it's a great question. Consumers overall are comfortable in engaging depending on the service or the journey that they're looking for in any banking interaction. Transactions that are a little bit more complex or of a larger ticket size, or a financial product that requires a longer term financial consideration, they're more comfortable in engaging not only digitally, but more importantly with an advisor. And that means being assisted. So we do see a large adoption of digital application and services for our products, whether it's applying for a credit card or applying for a deposit or current account or a savings account, or even services like looking at how many reward points I have or doing an online fund transfer. However, when it comes to longer term considerations, like let's say picking up a mortgage loan, with larger ticket size, looking at your wealth planning as well as financial needs, planning for your retirement, children's education, something that's a little bit more goal-based. Consumers are a little bit more comfortable in speaking to an advisor. It's important for us to understand consumers' preferences depending on the banking solutions and services that they would need, the channels that are comfortable and have preference in engaging, whether it's digitally or assisted, and to provide omni-channel approach as well as strategy overall.
Jacqueline, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you for having me here.
Jacqueline Tan is Head of Group Personal Financial Services at UOB. I'm Howie Lim. Thank you for joining us today. We look forward to sharing more in the next episode as you navigate the future of finance.
This episode of Future of Finance was presented by UOB. This is a podcast by the Business Times. Find more BT podcasts at businesstimes.com.sg/podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. This podcast is meant to provide general information only. SPH Media accepts no liability for loss arising from any reliance on the podcast or use of third parties' products and services. Please consult professional advisors for independent advice.